Welcome to Module 4, Qualitative Research Design. In this module, we'll be talking about different qualitative approaches to conducting communication research. So one of them is ethnography, and that's discussed in Chapter 10, and we'll read about different ways of approaching ethnography, including the speaking framework, ethnography of communication, autoethnography, and each of these have different approaches to collecting data, primarily around the areas of conducting interviews and working in the field doing observations. Chapter 11 focuses on conducting interviews and the ways to approach interviews, how to plan interviews, how to collect the data for interviews, and then how to analyze interview data. Chapter 12 is concerned about focus groups, and this is an approach that's similar to interviewing, but as the name implies, there are a larger group of participants who are involved when the data is being collected. So we'll talk about preparing for and conducting focus groups in Chapter 12. Chapter 13 concerns qualitative data analysis, and there are a few different approaches that are discussed in this chapter. One is grounded theory, which is perhaps the most common approach to analyze qualitative data, and this data could be from interviews, observations, focus groups, or which are the primary methods for collecting data in qualitative studies. And then we'll discuss some alternatives to that, including a thematic approach and a qualitative content analytic approach. Then the last two chapters of this module concern rhetorical and critical analysis, and both of these approaches look at different artifacts, and these could be artifacts such as films, speeches, television shows, lyrics from songs, books, newspapers, anything that's a trace of people's communication behavior. And then in rhetorical criticism, you would look at a rhetorical theory such as Neo-Aristotelian theory or fantasy theme theory to analyze that artifact. And then critical approaches look at theories such as Marxism, postmodernism, feminism, queer theory, to name a few, to look at that artifact. And so whereas rhetorical theory is looking at that artifact from the theory's perspective, the critical approach makes some sort of judgment about that artifact based upon that theory. So in this module, you'll be reading chapters 10, 11, 12, 13, 19, and 20. Review the lessons in this module. Post the required comments to the 2 voice threads in this module. Complete quizzes 16 to 20. And then submit portions A, B, and C, which is the final complete paper. So in that final portion of the paper, what you'll be doing is revising portion B based upon my feedback, and then add portion C of your revised portion A and B to create one complete paper. So in this section C, what you're adding is the analysis. So here, you're not actually conducting analysis, but I want you to tell me how you would analyze the data that you would propose to collect. So if you're doing a quantitative study, you would want to tell me which statistical test is appropriate to your study. If you're doing a qualitative study, then you would tell me which qualitative approach, such as grounded theory or thematic analysis, you think is appropriate to your study. Tell me what limitations you might see in your study, and this could be related to how you've done sampling, for example, or how you're measuring your variables. Then what future research do you think might be conducted after this? So think about where could you go next with this type of study that you're proposing. And then include any appropriate appendices. So this could be the informed consent for your participants, the measurement, an interview guide, survey instrument, anything that is mentioned in the guidelines for the paper. And here what you're doing is adding 3 to 4 pages to what you've already completed for portions A and B. As always, please get in touch if you have any questions about the course.